What are my favorite coasters in Ohio? Well, today we're going to talk about all of them. I hope you're ready and excited. Let's go. Now, these coasters, first of all, are not on any kind of like objective scale or list in any kind of way. I'm not trying to objectively rank them. I'm not trying to figure out the best in these different categories. They're just my favorites. They're just the rides that I generally have the best opinion of and that I just, in my own head, like the most. Also, I wanted to rank both Cedar Point and Kings Island together, so we'll have a mixture of different rides all around, and I think there will be some surprises along the way, so I think it'll be really fun. Also, if you haven't pressed that subscribe button yet, that subscribe button turns you into cool people, so press that subscribe button. Also press the like button and comment down below. Also, I have old vlogs, I have new vlogs coming out. I have all kinds of different stuff, so come join us. About every other day we have a new video dropping on this channel. We'd love for you to join us and, you know, get involved. Come and talk down below what your favorite coasters are at Cedar Point and other places. So let's get into this top 10 list. All right, now my number 10 coaster. This one was actually really hard. I kind of wanted to put Iron Dragon down. I also kind of wanted to put Adventure Express down. Those are both rides that I absolutely love. They're not the most exciting rides. So instead what I'm putting down is Valravn. Valravn is a fantastic ride. It's really fun, very smooth, huge elements on it that huge tracts of land, huge elements that are just really fun. It's very soaring, or at least that's the word I would describe it as. It is very intimidating seeming, especially because it stops you at the very top of the track and you're looking down at your doom to come, which is a blast. It's actually really fun. Yeah, so to me, it just feels like I'm a bird on a perch, just waiting to go down and grab its prey, and then you just keep swooping from there. It's so much fun. It's a great ride, and I definitely think it is one that's deserving to be on this list. My number 9 spot is Diamondback. I do really like Diamondback. I think a lot of people give it a lot more credit than I think it's really due. I think Diamondback is a very fun ride, and I think it's worth my top 10 in Ohio. But I don't really think that it's the most fantastic ride that you can possibly ride at Kings Island. It's just... There are other ones that I find much more appealing, at least for me. So it gets 9th spot, and I think that's definitely worthwhile. One thing I will say for it, and part of the reason why it made the list, is when you get to the top of some of the airtime hills, it really... I don't even quite know how to explain it. Maybe the angle is sharper, but you can feel your body get kind of thrown over that hill. So that is part of the reason why. The airtime is a little bit different and a bit sharper than what you would normally get on most coasters, and that is part of the fun of Diamondback. It really gives a solid experience as far as that goes, and it's really fun to do. So that's why I made this list at number 9. My number 8th spot is Mystic Timbers. I love Mystic Timbers because it is very low to the ground thrills, just all the way around. I feel like Mystic Timbers is essentially a much scaled down version of Steel Vengeance, and maybe that'll be a controversial statement, I'm not sure, but what I mean by that is Steel Vengeance has a lot of those moments when you're going up on top of a lift hill and it takes you at an angle while you're going over it, and when it does that, it feels very much like you're riding a bucking bronco. That's kind of the way I feel about it. It feels like you're hanging on for dear life, and you feel like you're gonna fly out the side of the car. You're not going to. It just feels that way. It's the same thing with Mystic Timbers, but Mystic Timbers only has like a 160 foot drop or something like that. It's not a huge drop by any means. It doesn't even break the skyline at Kings Island, but when you go down it, then you have a whole bunch of lower hills that are just small, and it feels like you're on a bucking bronco. It's just trying to get you off of it the whole way. So you're just like back and forth, bouncing essentially for the entire ride, which maybe sounds like it would make you feel a little bit sick, but it doesn't. It's a very smooth ride, at least in my opinion anyway. Of course, if it's not for you, let me know down in the comments. Let us know down in the comments, because obviously different people are going to have different experiences, and it's good for people reading the comments section to realize that there are different people who feel differently about these rides, and that helps them to know kind of what to expect if they decide to ride each different coaster. So please, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments. It's perfectly fine with me, but for me, it is a ride that I absolutely adore. I think it's so much fun. I got to ride it I think it was just 3 years ago for the first time, and I had an absolute blast. So it was definitely fun, and makes my top 10 list at number 8. My next ride is number 7, and we've had just a slew of Kings Island rides here because it is the Beast. And I feel like no Ohio list could possibly be complete without the Beast being on it somewhere. I have had some rides on the Beast where I didn't like it as much. My very first ride on the Beast was kind of like, I don't know, but I think they trim braked it a lot. So I think I was just kind of confused by why it was so fun, because we weren't going very fast on it. But as I've continued to ride it throughout the seasons, it's gotten exponentially more fun for me every single time. And I think it's because that speed is there. Usually when you ride that ride, it is a crazy fast ride. It's so much fun. And there are a lot of moments when you're going into it almost feels like you're going into loops. You're never actually looping, but it feels almost like you're looping because you're on an angle going like this for a lot of the ride, or at least for a large portion of one big part of the ride. So it's almost like an angled helix that you end up in. It's so much fun. You go crazy fast. You're also angled to the side like this for that whole time because you're going so fast. So it's kind of angled like a racetrack for that. It's so much fun. It's a blast. It is one that I am continuing to have more and more fun with every single time that I ride it. So I definitely think it's worthwhile to go check out Kings Island and to go check out that ride. Like I said, 3 rides right now all have been Kings Island rides, and there are more coming. So let's go. My number 6 spot is Maverick. Maverick is so much fun. Like I said, a lot of times when I've objectively, because you can never really objectively rank these rides, but when I've tried to the most objectively rank these things based on criteria, I've always ended up with Maverick being my favorite ride. On paper, it's the ride that I should love the most. It's not the ride that I love the most, but on paper it is. So it's definitely fun. I've enjoyed it so much, and I still, one way or another, love that ride. There's just so many crazy elements on it. It is very smooth. It is very fast. It's got a great intensity to it, but it's never just too much. Although if you're not used to riding roller coasters, I wouldn't recommend it as your first ride by any means. It is, unless you just want to shock yourself, and then go for it. If you want to push your limits, absolutely figure that one out. But yeah, it's a great ride. It's so much fun. It also has some fantastic views of the lake right next to Cedar Point. It's just so much fun. It's a great ride, and of course, being in Frontier Town doesn't hurt it at all either, because that is one of my favorite spots at Cedar Point. I love the theming back there. So definitely, I really enjoy Maverick a lot. On the same vein as Maverick is number 5 spot, Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance is a blast. it's a crazy ride. 2 years ago, it was the ride that, like, at the very end of the year, at the very end of the Cedar Point season, I was just like, I have to ride this. I have to ride it as many times as I possibly can because I want to remember this feeling. I want to remember this high all winter long. That wasn't the one for this year, though. So I'm sure, honestly, if I took this same list and I did it last year, I would have a completely different list of rides that I would have as my top 10. I'm sure if I made this list 2 months from now, I will have another completely different list of coasters. This is not a stagnant thing at all for me. So it will change a little bit, which is another reason why you guys should let me know your lists down below. Also, there is no right or wrong answer to this. And like I said, things will change for me. And I would hope they change for you guys too. That, you know, you get older and you like one ride better than you liked the other. Or you get a little bit chubbier and something else hurts more than another one did. Whatever. There's just different reasons, or just day by day you have one thing that you like more than you liked the last time that you rode it. So these things aren't stagnant, but I do love Steel Vengeance so much. It's a blast for me, and I love all the little very quick body rolls that they do throughout it. It's such a fun thing, and then you have a lot of little corkscrews, especially at the bottom, and that's the thing that really sets it apart for me from Maverick, that makes this a better experience than Maverick, is that Steel Vengeance goes underneath the track and does so many little constant helixes, and it's in and out constantly, up and down, upside down and right side up, and you eventually, it doesn't take long to lose sight of which way is up. You've got enough G-forces on your body anyway that you're just unsure which way even gravity is getting you, and so and then you just see this massive wood all over you, so you don't really know which way is up. And that's another hugely fun part of that ride, is just that there's some crazy stuff in it that just tosses your body to the point where you're like disoriented, but not like sick disoriented, you just don't know where you are. So definitely fun. Again, also a very smooth ride. It's just a great ride overall. Now, like I said, if you haven't yet, please press that subscribe button and also like this video. Especially if you made it this far, you've liked or disliked something. So press that like button or press the dislike button. Either way, it engages and helps me in the algorithm. So go ahead and do it. And let's just keep going with our number 4 spot, which is Banshee at Kings Island. Banshee is such a blast to me. It is everything that I love. Again, one of the huge things with Banshee is that there are many moments of weightlessness that I absolutely love. That ride will flip you around just at the perfect moment. So a lot of times when you get right up to the top where there's airtime, it's gonna also flip you over. So then you just feel weightless. You just feel like you could fly at that point, and then it flips you back around. So you never have a moment where you just feel sick. You never have a moment where you feel like there's too much force on you, because it always alleviates the force. Now, there is one spot on Banshee that I don't love, and it's like a barrel roll that goes really slow, and you feel like you could just fall out at any moment. I hate it. I hate it so much. But it's worth it for all of the other gravity-less moments of that ride. So I absolutely love it. It is a blast for me, and it's definitely worth being able to ride that ride. And speaking of something very similar, these two rides kind of have a similar vibe about them. This is Gatekeeper at Cedar Point. Gatekeeper is so much fun. I love Gatekeeper so much. It really is a ride that that just has, it's just a blast for me. It has all the appeal that I could want. It's very, very fun, and I definitely think it's worthwhile. And a lot of it is that it does have these oversized elements, these moments when you turn over, these moments of almost weightlessness. Again, a beautiful ride as far as views go. You get some great views of the beach on Cedar Point. It's so much fun. So it's definitely worthwhile. It also takes you kind of for a scenic tour almost of Cedar Point, because it takes you over that entrance, so you see people coming into the park. Just everything about it is worthwhile, in my opinion. It's definitely a fun ride, and one that I would absolutely recommend to ride. It does have oversized elements, so it doesn't feel quite as intense as Banshee does. Banshee would be more along the vein of Raptor at Cedar Point, but it is still a very, very fun ride one way or another, and I think Gatekeeper is one of my favorite rides I've ever ridden, at least as far as just a general consensus in my own head of what I like. And number 2 is Millennium Force. Yes, Millennium Force did not get my number 1 spot, even though it is one of my absolute favorite coasters, but we're going to leave that for the last spot. We're going to have to talk about that in just a second here, but Millennium Force is so much fun. It is crazy, fast, low to the ground feel. I feel like Superman every single time I ride it. It's a blast in every single way. The only problem with Millennium is as it's gotten a little bit older, and I think it's always been this way, you just didn't notice it as much before, but as it's gotten a little bit older, I've noticed it has a bit more shaking to it. So the more that it shakes, you know, I think it was very smooth for all coasters when it was first made, just because we were used to things like Magnum that just were pretty shaky, like they hurt you, but then you got Millennium and it didn't hurt you anymore, so that's great. But as now coasters have gotten smoother and smoother, now I notice more that Millennium Force has that rattle to it, and it does kind of hurt a little bit. You can feel it a bit, so that's what keeps it from getting its number 1 spot. But for number 1 at Kings Island, I have Orion. I love Orion. I find it to be so much fun, and I don't care if that's not an interesting take. It's one of my favorite rides, and that's the ride that I missed this year above all others. I don't miss Steel Vengeance. I miss Orion. I love Orion so much. Now, it is kind of funny though, because when I first rode Orion, I had just gone to Carowinds. So my very first rides on Orion were compared to Carowinds and to Fury 325. And with that, I don't feel like it's as good as Fury 325, but Fury 325 kind of tainted my view on Orion for the first several times I rode it. And the thing is, I think they're pretty comparable, but I do think Fury 325 just has some crazy forces and elements that just take you to a whole different level, especially that moment when it takes you over the main walkway and you're kind of angled for that, but you're also going up and you're getting airtime on that. It is a really fun ride though, and I think even despite it being having this like minor comparison with Fury 325, Orion is a fantastic ride. It's so much fun. It's crazy. It makes me giggle throughout the entire ride, and it has some great elements throughout it, including that very end of the track element where it takes you up and then you kind of swerve around a little bit and then come back around. It's a blast. It really has some good angles on it as far as your seats go, that just make it feel pretty crazy and intense and fun. And it's a ride that I just can't get enough of right now. I'm missing it a lot, and I wish it was open for Winterfest, but obviously it's not. So anyway, let me know down below what your list is. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. Tell me what your favorite things are, or tell me what things on my list you're like, oh no, there's no way that could be number 3 on your list for Gatekeeper, whatever. That's fine. Disagree with me all you want. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. But thank you guys so much for hanging out, and let's go. Hey, thanks for watching. I release theme park related videos at least a couple times a week, so press that subscribe button if you made it this far. Also, check out similar videos in the playlist to the right, or find my newest video to the left. Thanks again, and let's go!